Hey, what's up, dudes? This is Matt, BroStones founder, and I just wanted to invite you guys into the channel and just kind of get the ball rolling with this, what I'm going to call the entrepreneurial journal. So, as I'm thinking about this, I kind of want to track the BroStones business journey, the philosophical journey, the exploration into masculinity and things like that. It dawns on me that more than likely you're probably like, first and foremost, like, who the heck is this guy? So the way I want to kick things off is I'm going to try and do something I'm not the most comfortable with. This is always like the worst part of every introduction for any class I have, or giving a talk or seminar or whatever. And you have to do the obligatory, like, oh, this is who I am, and this is what I've done, and this is, what I'm all about. So I figured we'll just knock that part out first. All right. It all started when a mommy and a daddy, just kidding. When I was, younger and going to school and things like this, I was never really fully engaged in the academic side of things, and that resulted in me maybe skipping a lot of school more than I should have. Not that I was a dumb kid. I think I maybe was just bored or immature or whatever it was at that point in time, but I got into a bit of trouble, and so I went to military school. Shout out to Fork Union. For me, I think I just wasn't engaged in a lot of what other people were learning, and just felt like it was very routine and couldn't draw a lot of parallels to the subject matter and things like that. So it's funny how I started out sort of not liking academia, then ended up in academia. That's a whole nother story. When I got out of school, I was kind of like, I went to Fork Union, I graduated, and that really was a formidable time in my life that helped shape me. And then even going to a four-year college, I was sort of just felt lost, that same kind of lost sensation, like, what am I doing? Where's my passion for this? What is this all about? Why am I just going through the motions? Is this just a societal milestone that I'm trying to hit? And so I struggled a bit there too, and I just wasn't ready for that until I found my way into physical therapy again. So preface that with saying my mother and father were entrepreneurs in their own right. They were small business owners. Ever since I was a young child, we owned a physical therapy clinic. We owned that clinic for about 30 years, and in my head as I was growing up, I was like, there's no way I'm ever getting to PT. I don't want anything to do with it. And after kind of bouncing around in the academic experience for a little bit, I was interested to find that I was like, okay, well, this feels familiar to me. Let me see if I can rediscover that. Went to PTA school and just blew it out of the water. I mean, it was like things clicked for me. The grades went back up to straight A's, valedictorian. It all started to click because there was a purpose behind what I was learning. And that was one thing I feel like a lot of people are looking for, is to have some kind of engagement in terms of their purpose, their future value in their education, rather than just going through the motions. So that was something I was able to find, and I couldn't be more thankful for that opportunity, because it really led me into a field of physical therapy that I've been doing now for, 15 years. That was so gratifying and gave me the opportunity not just to learn about the body, the human body, and how to rehab it when it's injured, how to manifest health and well-being and abundance in that, in the physical state, mental state, and spiritual state. I know I sound like every other little hippie guru moment. I promise it won't be that. As I'm working in PT and using my hands to pursue manual therapy degree, so massage therapy and bodywork degree, that's down in Tallahassee, Florida. And then after that, became very interested in what at the time was not as trendy or sexy, but is extremely in vogue now, which is the complementary and alternative medicine side of things. So talking about herbs, talking about, even to some extent, crystals, Eastern medical philosophies, like traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine in India, some of these holistic medicines and how they compare to the general philosophy and constructs of Western medicine. So that was fascinating to me, and that's something I also like to try and bring into my lectures, and we'll talk about through this series. And how does that tie into BroStones? Well, as I was finishing that, I tried to bring that into my patient care, and to some degree, I think after a while you start to learn with your hands and your eyes and your connection, and there very much is a interpersonal and energetic component to this healing process. And how you manifest that is a lot about the intention that you put into your output. So for me, I was really interested in that, and at that point I had sort of worked in the business and had moved into a managerial role, and I said, I'm interested in trying to build something, because to me business is sort of like the human body. There's a physiology and anatomy to it that just seems to be structured in a very similar way, at least the way that I see it. So at that point I went and I got my MBA. And again, academia did well. It just clicked. It was one of those things where I had this focus, this idea, this intention in my mind that was directed and purposeful for, you know, you just get in these roles where you feel like you're kind of rolling along, and then you sort of feel semi-aimless, and then it has to be on to the next goal. So that was something that really I was like, I just felt in my heart like I got to do this. So I did that, and I started exploring entrepreneurship in that role, and was very interested in the creation of business, startup culture, things of that nature. And so we ended up selling the business post-COVID in 2020, and it aligned perfectly. Again, life finds a way. Life just has a way of introducing you into your next phase. So I got an email from a local school here in Virginia, and they just sort of shot out an invitation, said, hey, would you ever consider doing some teaching? That was about 5 years ago now, and I said, sure, why not? So started in as a lab my first day, and the program director was like, hey, you want to just go ahead and take this class? And I said, yeah, what the heck? Why not? I'll give it a shot. So fast forward 5 years later, I'm now an adjunct professor for health sciences, including musculoskeletal anatomy, kinesiology, therapeutic interventions, and business elements of rehab. So that has been a really, really cool journey. That's sort of, it's just funny how everything sort of ties together when you move along with the ebb and flow of what life is giving you at that frequency. So for me, that was the process that led me to this place. And after teaching, of course, here we go, cycle of getting restless, back into this idea of like, well, I got to do something else now. I had figured, well, you know, I really enjoy teaching. Why don't I go ahead and just get my PhD so that I can teach at the university level? I'm already teaching with a master's. I'd like to continue teaching college courses. I'd like to talk about a lot of these interesting things that I find to be fascinating from a business, health science perspective, complementary alternative medicine perspective. And I started in on this, and then it just didn't click. You know, here I am doing my PhD, and not to say that there's anything wrong with the PhD. It just felt like I was just going through the motions of repeating the same coursework that I had already done, examining it a certain way, writing papers about it, and then spitting those back out without really gaining any invested knowledge or any internal growth other than maybe professionally eventually. And the other part of it was the student loans were just like destroying me. So I was like, I feel like maybe there's a way to communicate all these things that I've tried to work to acquire and that I hope that I've got some expertise in now. And in a way that's, number one, not going to cost me a boatload of money, but also that maybe is more effectual. And you have this sort of, well, don't talk about it, be about it moment. So for me, it was kind of this, let me just put this PhD on hold. Maybe if I took that same capital that I'm investing in my education and tried to start a small business, not just a business to generate a product, but a business to generate an ideology, a philosophy, open up doors of conversation and dialogue around something that I'm passionate about, and see if that takes hold of anyone else's interest at the same time. So that was sort of the mentality, and that's what led me here to BroStones and to talking to you right now. So, you know, this is my introduction. I want to continue to do some just quick 10-15 minute entrepreneurial blurbs about you know, the successes, the failures, the, for lack of better words, I hate to say it, the fuck ups, you know, that you have when you're going through a business. And, you know, maybe just create a sounding board for people that are interested in entrepreneurial pursuit or, you know, trying to build a business. So this entrepreneurial journal will kind of serve as a video diary of things that I'm doing as I'm building out the brand, things I'm considering, things I'm looking at. And maybe, hopefully, this could be useful to you as well if this is something, building your own brand, fulfilling your own passion through business, through entrepreneurship, is something that maybe you're seeking out in your own life. So I would love to hear from you guys, and I'm excited to get this going. Hopefully this is something that you'll, you know, join in with me, and we can have this sort of interface in terms of learning together and growing together, and I'm really stoked about it. So anyways, thanks for joining the channel. If you like it, just hang with me. Like I said, there'll be regular updates going on all the time. And of course, there'll be a whole bunch of other stuff in terms of BroStones. We're going to talk about things like the identity of the masculine, you know, just examining different modern takes on what masculinity is, doing interviews, thinking about how that has changed through the years and what's important. How do you evolve these things? That's something I'm passionate about. Health and wellness on a number of different levels. So there'll be a scope of things that just interest me, and if they interest you, then hop aboard. It's nice to have you, and we'll see you guys on the next one.